Hi, Leo. Welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your mid-May 2025 love reading. Thank you to those of you who have liked, viewed, shared, and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you new to the channel, source of what we have in front of us, it's what I call the bridging the gap spread. And the way it works is a look at the past, present, future energies between you and your main love interest. We'll also pull some oracle cards that'll bridge the gap. As far as the decks being used, on the left side we have the Lover's Path Tarot, on the right side we have the Romantic Tarot. And also keep in mind it's a general reading, so I'm going to be referring to the cards on the left as the energy and the cards on the right as the other person's. If you feel like it's the way around in your situation, then definitely trust that. Alright, so with all that out of the way, we get started. Past energy on your side, we have the Eight of Coins. So this is Virgo energy here. And yeah, it could just be saying that you might have been putting a lot of focus toward your finances in the past. I feel like, especially if you look at the body language here, I feel like this is saying you were still present in the connection, but definitely more so just focused on your finances and career. Alright, past energy on their side, we have the Seven of Swords. So if we look at the facial expression of the person, they don't necessarily look happy, right? And you see all the swords placed around. So I feel like this is saying that they might have actually pushed you away in the past, maybe because they felt like you weren't putting the level of attention toward the connection that they would have liked. So that's what I'm seeing with that. Alright, present energy on your side, we have Justice. So Libra energy here, and to me this looks like this is saying that you will actually make an effort to be more present, right? Because we see the person behind the curtain there, looks like they're returning, right? So yeah, for those of you who do realize that, yeah, okay, maybe I have been putting more time and energy toward my finances than normal, so now that I'm done with that cycle, I'm going to try to put more effort toward the connection. That could be the energy that you guys will be embracing in the present. All right, present energy on their side, we have the Nine of Wands. So yes, what I'm seeing with this, if we look at the artwork, we see the kid behind the gate there, right? And they're looking at which I would think were probably the parents, right? So it could just be one of those things where maybe when you were more focused on your finances, it might have triggered an abandonment wound in them, which obviously, at the end of the day, that would be their responsibility to heal that. That could be why they're feeling guarded toward you now, because as you were shifting your focus, it might have felt like, it triggered that old wound in them. All right, and future energy on your side, we have the Queen of Arrows. So this is Libra energy here, and to me, ultimately, this says that you'll probably still have interest in this person, right? If we look at the way the body language is, and we see, if I get it to refocus again, see the way that she's kind of looking over in that direction. We see the birds, which represent communication. I feel like this is saying that ultimately you still will be present and interested in this person, but I feel like this is saying that now you actually want to see them show up in a more tangible way for you in the future. So, whereas, like I said, it looks like you were doing some more of the lifting here, maybe not so much in the past, but in the present. Now, it looks like you're going to want to see some reciprocation on their part. Right. And interestingly enough, future energy on their side, they also have the Queen of Swords. So, if you look at the artwork there, much different, right? This person looks like they just have a lot going on in their mind. But what makes me sad is the way these swords are above their head. Makes me think of the Nine of Swords energy. Then we do see the one sword at their feet, which would represent communication as well, and it's like pointed toward the direction of your card. So it could just be one of those things where they do ultimately, they'd like to communicate, but again, like I said, it just seems like they just have so much on their head right now, so much on their mind, that's really what's making it hard for them to show up in the connection, ironically, which, like I said, it seems like they were holding it against you when you weren't showing up, but now looks like they have their own stuff going on where they can't fully show up either. So definitely an interesting dynamic. All right, and bottom of the deck on your side, we have Illusion. So yeah, so ultimately this could just be saying that maybe you're confused by the way that this person is acting in a connection, right? Because like I said, ultimately, yeah, it's one thing if you aren't giving energy to the connection, but as far as that triggering an unhealed wound in this person, ultimately, like we said, that would be their responsibility to ultimately do the healing on that anyway, and or at least clearly communicate what the issue was, right? But it doesn't like they've done that, so it could just be one of those things where it could be like harboring resentment toward you guys, and you're not necessarily aware of that. All right, and bottom of the deck on their side, we have the Fool. So yeah, so it could just be one of those things where, like I said, they might move through life in some ways oblivious to the impact that they're having in the situation, which, like I said, it seems to be primarily driven by that unhealed wound that they have from their past. But I feel like this is saying that they're kind of oblivious to it. So on the one hand, I was mentioning how you seem to be a bit oblivious as far as what their issue is with you and the connection, but same time they're oblivious in a different way as far as they don't realize that they're actually um, pushing the cycle back into the forefront over and over again with the way that they're reacting. So definitely an interesting dynamic for sure. See what the oracle cards add to the mix. First, we'll see what we get from the messages of oracle card deck. I'm just going to give this a few shuffles. All right, and I'll cut the deck and pull a card. Get this out of the way, and now I'll do the same thing with the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. I'll give this a few shuffles. All right, cut this deck, and I'll take this card, get this out of the way, and we'll take a look at the messages of card first. All right, we have wait. It says the timing is not quite right. Interesting message there, right? Because like I said, it definitely seems like at the very least this person seems like they have some healing to do. Whereas for you, like I said, it looks like you really were, just wrapped up in your own thing. But again, like I said, given the body language, I feel like you were still at least somewhat present in the connection even during that phase. Now it looks like you are putting in more effort to actually make up for maybe your lack of presence in the past. But ultimately, like I said, it seems like this person has their own thing going on that they need to heal from in order for the connection to really thrive. But just be saying that maybe that's what they're saying as far as the timing not being right. You might have to give them a little more time to work that out. All right. And from the Wisdom of the Oracle, we have Observer. There's the artwork, and the number is 49. Let's see what this has to say. All right. The relationship message says sometimes you just can't see the forest for the trees in your way. Feelings can get all jumbled up, and often you hear one thing when a person says another. It can be like an echo of an unresolved past experience dubbed over your conversation. Take time out before you react. It's likely the other person has no idea how his or her words have affected you. Take a few steps back and lend understanding to the situation. Have faith in your connection and trust that you can come together. Take the higher ground now and cultivate curiosity about what you observe in yourself, in others, and in the landscape. You will find things much improved sooner than you know. So definitely an interesting message there, because I will say overall that message seemed like it would be more potent for the energy on this side of the spread, right? Because like we said, it seems like they have to go through a situation and maybe not realizing that, hey, here you were just doing your thing and it triggered an unhealed wound in them. But yeah, either way, overall, it seems like there maybe is some hope for the connection. But again, like I said, it seems like this person is going to have to work through some stuff before it gets to that point. But I hope it resonated for you guys. We're up there, and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.